Hey everyone, this is Shivangi. Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you the do's and don'ts when it comes to creating an eye makeup look. It is something which I'd been wanting to do since a very long time, so I really hope that you enjoy watching this one. All the products which I'll be using to create this look, it's not exactly a look, it's a do's and don'ts video, but still all the products which I'll use, I'll list them in the description box below, so if at all you want, you can check it out. And that's pretty much it. Now without further ado, let's begin. Okay guys, let's begin. So rest of my makeup is already done. I'm going to do the correct application on this side of my face and the wrong application on the other side of my face. For this do's and don'ts tutorial, this is the palette which I'll use. It's Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air. It's one of the most basic and one of the nicest palettes out there for beginners. Now starting off with the wrong side, the first and foremost mistake which a lot of people do is they dip their brush in the darkest shade and then they slap it on their crease and their eyelids just like this. So what happens is, if you take the darkest shade first and you apply it like this, it becomes very difficult to blend it. If you want to blend your eyeshadows well and you want to have a neat gradient on your crease, you've got to start with the transition shade first, which is the lighter shade on the palette. In this case, I'm going to take this transition shade and then first dust the brush off. This is very important. Whenever you're picking out any pigment from any eyeshadow palette, you should dust the brush and then apply it on your crease in a circular motion. Now I'm just trying to blend this side with that lighter shade, and you can see that the crease is all patchy and it doesn't look nice at all. Now, moving on to the second mistake. The second mistake which a lot of people do is they don't change their brush while applying a darker shade on the outer corner of their eyelid, or for that matter, even on their crease. So again, if you take a fluffy brush and take a darker color to apply on your crease and on the outer corner, it is not going to be neat at all because the eyeshadow is going to get everywhere. You can see that this just looks like a patch on the crease. The better thing to do would be to take a smaller brush, something like this. This is Pack 229 brush. Then with this brush, you take the darker shade, dust the excess, and after that with a very light hand, you start applying the shade on the outer corner of your eyelid and your crease. Again, while doing this, you should move your brush from left to right and also in circular motion so that the shade is blending well. I'm sure you can clearly see the difference between both the sides. The gradient over here has already started forming and it is looking much neater and much nicer. Next mistake which a lot of people do is they don't use a clean fluffy brush to blend the transition shades after the application. So a lot of people leave it just like that, or they would use the same fluffy brush that they have to kind of blend this out. So it doesn't work, guys. If your brush is not clean, it is just going to pack more pigment on the wrong side and it is not going to blend the eyeshadow at all. You have to ensure that you're using a clean fluffy brush and rotating it in circular motions to clean up your crease and create a nice gradient. So after blending the eyeshadow, this is how the correct side is looking like and this is how the wrong side is looking like. It is terrible. Alright, now moving on to the next mistake, which is not exactly a mistake, but if you do it correctly, your shimmery shades are gonna pop more on your eyelids. Now 90% of the palettes that I have, even the high-end ones, the shimmery shades from those palettes do not show up properly on the eyelids if I use a dry brush. So there are two options which you can consider for it. One is to use a glitter primer before applying the shimmery shade, and the second one, which is feasible for a lot of people, is to use a wet brush. So this is a shimmery shade on the palette which I'm going to just, use with a dry brush. I'm going to apply it as it is with a dry brush on the wrong side. So this is the amount of pigmentation that has come through. I'm again dipping my brush in the shimmery shade and again applying it. So you see, this is the kind of pigmentation which I got using just a dry brush. On the correct side, I'm going to wet my brush. So I'm using a makeup fixer. This is Pat Micro Finish Makeup Fixer. You can use any makeup fixer of your choice. I am going to take a little bit of makeup fixer on the palette. Just one spritz I've taken on the palette. You can't see because it is transparent. Then I'm going to take the eyeshadow brush, dip it in the makeup fixer. Next, I will pick up the pigment with this wet brush and apply it on this side. You can instantly see the difference between the two sides. And your brush doesn't need to be soaking wet. Like if you feel that it has soaked up quite a bit, you just, press it once at the back of your hand and then take the pigment and start applying your shimmery shade. You can of course do the same step with a glitter primer as well. I use PAC Sparkly Distraction Glitter Primer, but you don't have to buy that extra product if you don't have it. It's a really good product though. I highly recommend it. But if you don't have it, then you can use your makeup fixer. Any makeup fixer is fine to wet the brush. Next thing, which a lot of people again don't do, is to go back to the darker shade and blend the darker shade with the shimmery shade with a smaller brush. So on the wrong side, I'm not going to do any blending. I'm going to leave it just like that. And on the correct side, I'm again going to take PAC 229 brush, dip it in the darker shade, dust the excess, and very lightly blend it with the shimmery shade. This step is very important to do for a seamless look. You just have to use the smaller brush on the area where the shimmery shade and the darker shade meet. You don't have to go all the way till here, or you don't have to spread the darker shade over here. Just on that one point where these two shades meet. You gotta just scratch your eyelid with the brush there. Lastly, it's just a tip. It's something extra which I always do for my eyeshadows after I'm done applying the shimmery shade. I use a clean fluffy brush again and I run it one last time on my crease. It helps in making your eyeshadow look even more neater. We're done with the eyelid. Now we'll move on to the lower lash line. Again, the same mistake which a lot of people do, using the wrong brush to apply the shade on the lower lash line. For your lower lash line, you need a smaller brush. You definitely need a smaller brush. If you take like a big brush which is like this, it's not going to work. And also, if you directly take the darkest color and just with this brush, if you apply it on your lower lash line, it is going to be a disaster. So I've taken the darker shade on this dome shaped brush and I'm going to apply it on my lower lash line. You can see it has come almost till my cheek. Also, if you take it all the way through, it is going to look a little scary. So you should definitely avoid using a brush like this and dipping it into the darker shade to apply it all over your lower lash line. It is not going to look flattering at all. The correct thing would be to take a flatter brush. I'm going to use the same eyeshadow brush which I use. This is from a DU Care brush set which I purchased from Amazon long ago. So you got to take a flatter brush and you got to first dip it in a lighter shade and apply the shade halfway through, keeping it very close to the lower lash line. Now next, with the same brush, I'm going to take a bit of the darker shade, dust the excess and apply it on top of the previous shade we applied. Again, very close to your lower lash line. We've basically done the same thing which we did on our crease, applying the transition shade first and then applying the darker shade. Alright, now moving on to eyeliner. Now, I am not somebody who uses a lot of eyeliners, but I'm going to tell you where you can go wrong with your eyeliner. If you have watched my eyeliner tutorial, I always tell you that for any eyeliner that you create, your line of reference is going to be this. Where your eyebrow ends, that is your reference. That is where the wing of your liner should point. But what I notice a lot of people doing is they don't keep this point as a reference point. They just make a wing liner just like that. So I'll show you the difference. I'm going to create a wing liner on the wrong side first. Like this. I kid you not, I've really seen a lot of people making a wing liner like this. And another mistake that they do is that they keep the eyeliner really thick on the inner corner of the eyelid as well. The correct way to apply the eyeliner is to keep the end of your eyebrow as your point of reference. Then you create a line which is pointing towards that end. And then you start making a wing on the outer corner of your eyelid. So this is the eyeliner which I've created on the correct side. One more thing to keep in mind is that the line on the inner corner of the eyelid has to be thinner than the outer corner. It cannot be like a thick line all over. It has to start thin and then progress to being thick. Okay, now coming to mascara. So I've applied one layer of mascara on this side of my eye. With the application of mascara, the area where you can go wrong is building the mascara too much. No matter which mascara you're using, you cannot build it beyond 2 layers. If you go beyond 2 layers, it is just going to look really untidy and your eyelashes are going to be super clumpy. So on the wrong side, right now I'm putting one layer of the mascara. I'm going to dip the wand again in the mascara, apply one more layer, and I'm dipping my wand again in the mascara and applying a third layer. My eyelashes have given up on this side. I don't know how much you can see, guys, but my mascara is all clumpy and it is not neat at all. My eyelashes are stuck together. Now on this side, I've only applied one layer. I've let the layer dry up and I'm going to build it up with the second layer. So this is the difference between the correct application of mascara and the wrong application of mascara. Do not ever build your mascara beyond 2 layers and do not apply the second layer of mascara until the first one has dried up. Please don't get scared. I'm going to look up to show you how the mascara is looking on the correct side and the wrong side. I hope you understood what I was saying. Moving on to the next mistake, which is the application of the highlighter in the inner corners of the eyes and the brow bone. One mistake which a lot of people do is they take their highlighter and they apply a lot of it in the inner corner of the eyelid. And they go like really up above the inner corner. Basically create a line sort of a thing with the highlighter. And on the outer corner, they apply it on the brow bone plus on the area where we have applied the transition shade, and they build it up a lot. These are the two mistakes which you have to absolutely avoid. The correct way would be to take a bit of highlighter and place it in the inner corner of your eyelid and not blend it upwards or downwards. You just got to play around in this one little corner. And on the brow bone, you need to focus on the arch of your eyebrow and be very close to the arch. And even if you're building it up, you build it up just a little, not too much. Like, this is a lot of highlighter. This is not going to look nice. 2 layers of a highlighter is really more than enough for your brow bone and the inner corners of your eyes. And that's it, guys. Those are all the do's and don'ts when it comes to creating your eyeshadow looks. This is the right side of the eyeshadow and this is clearly the wrong side of the eyeshadow. I really hope that this video was in some way helpful to you. I will come up with a part 2 of this video where I'll tell you all the do's and don'ts when it comes to doing your base makeup. Anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you're not following me on Instagram, then ensure that you do. I do post a lot of makeup related content there. I'm going to leave all the links in the pinned comment of the comment section below, and if you have not subscribed to our channels already, then please subscribe to our channels. We've got 3 channels, Hindi, English and Bengali, and your support would mean the world to us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye. Mwah.